Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to explain the basics of Blender. And as most of you know, Blender is just a software I use a lot. And so, let's get started. And yeah. So, when you load up Blender, this is what you will see first. So, this is, even though some of you out there might be using iOS or Mac, but I'm using a Windows. Well, Blender and both of those computers are the same. Because I also have a Mac and I know it's the same. So, this is what you're going to start off with when you load up a default Blender thing. And so, you want to model something. You could, one of the options is go to sculpting and sculpt something. Like the sculpt it. I'm not so good at sculpting too much. Well, there's also something else you could use is just pressing tab and you're into edit mode. And some of you don't know how to pan around. So on the default is pressing middle mouse and dragging, which will just orbit around, and that's the default. But sometimes the default is alt and left clicking, which is not the case for me. And those are the two defaults that you could have. So if one doesn't work, try the other. And if you don't have a mouse, I recommend you buying one or just getting one, or even just using, if you have one of those little draw pad thingies with a pen on it, to try to simulate a mouse. Well, anything's better than nothing. But if you also want to change the settings, you can go here to edit, go to preferences, and then go to key mapping, and you can go to orbit, and you can just change whatever. So let's get on. Here is a modeling thing. As you could see, if you press G, you can move a specific thing around. So now I'm just swiping my mouse around for some reason. Well, you could do it, but you might want it to go in a specific axis. For example, specifically Y or X. You would want to press G and then Z. So it goes up. That's the Z axis, which is going up. GX goes into X. I won't say if it's front, back, or left, right, because some of you might have your computers positioned or something in another direction. So the red one, this will be very helpful to remember. The red one is X. The green one is Y. And just click your GX, you can move it by the X axis. GY, you can move it by the Y axis. So let's go back here, and if you want to delete this cube, press X, and this will pop up, and you have to press delete. Or let me press Control Z or Command Z, depending on if you're on a Mac or Windows. So for me, it's Control Z, so I'm going to say Control Z from now on. But if you're on a Mac, use Command Z. So you can't press backspace, or on a Mac, just delete. You can't do that. But on a Windows, you will also have a little handy dandy clipboard here, which you can press delete here, and it will also delete for you. So let's just start off with a blank thing. And if you want to add a new item, press Shift A, and then you can go to curve, mesh, whatever. You can just add almost anything. Okay, so let me just start out with the monkey that somehow Blender provides for you. I just like the monkey so much. It's one of my favorite additions to Blender. Okay, so let's start with the Blender monkey. Yeah, let's just call it Blender monkey. I have no idea what it's actually called. So, Blender monkey, here. If you want, so I think some of you out there might be using a software called Tinkercad, which I think for myself is not the best thing to use for really animating or 3D designing. If you're going, depending on what kind of thing you're going to do, if you're doing animating like me, just use Blenders or Cinema 3D or 4D. I have no idea. I don't use those softwares. Well, anyways, so, but if you're going to do modeling, I would recommend something like Fusion 360. Well, I'm not saying that Tinkercad is bad. I'm just saying that Tinkercad is sort of more of a beginner kind of thing, which is not the most recommended for anyone. So, mostly you would want to use Tinkercad first, then you'll want to use a software called SketchUp, which I personally think is my second software that I've used. So, from here, so if some of you, I'm saying so over and over again. Well, some of you might want to ask, how do you carve an item into these things? For example, I want to cut a hole through the monkey's head. And let me just press Shift A, get a UV sphere. A circle is a 2D circle. So, just a little tip for you. Not the best choice for a circle. Just, circle is normally for some 2D things like plane. Plane is just this, as I'm going to show you very fast. And circle is this, which, yeah, not so interesting. So I'm going to use a UV sphere and press S to scale it down, and then I'm going to just carve a hole in his brain. Press Z, and then move it upwards. So now what you want to do for carving an item in to this monkey is you want to go to this little wrench thing, which is called modifier properties. You want to click it, come here to add modifier, and press boolean. This is very important, so please just do that. And boolean over here, make sure it's selected on difference. And now you won't actually see much, except, yeah, just nothing would actually happen. Press this object, and then come over here and press sphere. Or there's another option. I'm going to press Control Z, press this little eyedropper here, and then come over to the sphere and press it. Yes. So over here, as you can see from the outline, it's already carved into it. But now, if you move it around, it's not carved. And you'll want to come here over this little thing, and then press apply. And for you hotkeys users, press Control or Command A. In here, not out there. So, anyways, I'm not gonna do that. It doesn't really work that well. And yeah, so, and now when you move this around, yes, a hole in his brains. What you want, just what you want. As disgusting as it sounds. So, now I'm just gonna delete that modifier real quick. I'm gonna go back to this thing. And over here, you would say, well, how do you change colors? Well, you were in here, and you want to come up here. See my mouse over here? Can't see it. Don't know why. Just come over here to the viewport shading, and just see. Now it's sort of a bit brighter. And then if you want to add color, go over to the materials properties and then press new. So this makes a new property for it. And then if you want to change the color, just change it around. Rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. I'm gonna keep it as a little red one. And if you want to change how shiny it is, go to metallic, change that up, and now it's super shiny. I'm gonna keep it super shiny because I like it. And if you want to make it super rough, you can just, like, for example, you're doing a carpet, you can turn roughness all the way up. Well, I'm not going to do that, so I'm gonna stick with roughness at 0. This might be a bit weird to you most of the times, but you'll get used to it. So from here, you would. This is just some of you out there, you might want to skip a bit of this, or just close your eyes, because this might make some people vomit. So I'm gonna change it back, just to make sure no one vomits. And from here, you would see that this is only one color, and if you add a color, nothing would happen. For example, you want to change the eyes to another color. You want to come over to the eye sections, and then, oh my, okay, so this is another tip I just realized. If this, from this over here, you can only select these dots, and if you move to this, you can select lines. You can change that. For hotkeys is 1, 2, and 3. So 2 is the lines, 3 is, you can select face, so a face at a time. That'll be way easier. I'm gonna stick with this for this episode, but if sometimes you just need to change it. Oh, and if you want to pan around like this, pan around and not just orbit like this, you want to, the default is shift middle mouse, but some out there is just middle mouse. For the ones that doesn't work, try both of them. If one doesn't work, try the other. Okay, so over here you will want to select all the eyes, and I'm just gonna do that real fast. Yeah, very fast, as you can see. I'm just gonna select this eye for now, maybe. No, I'm gonna do the other one. Not lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm not lazy, okay? And oh my gosh. I'm just gonna press Ctrl Z to reselect everything. And if you guys didn't know, pressing Ctrl Z would also reselect things. And okay, so you selected everything. Go to this material right here, the one you just set up, and then press Assign. Now it's the new material. For example, I want to make it, let's say, glow, for example. This doesn't glow. You want to come here to surface, go to emission, and then now if you change it, it glows. But as you can see, it doesn't glow that much. You want to change strength. I recommend 5 for normally. I'm just gonna change the color to blue now. Okay, that's a bit better. Almost, depends. Gonna hop back to white. A bit better, I guess. And from here is the little monkey, and it has a mission, but now you still can't see it that well. You can see it's a mission. It puts out light, but you can't see it that well. So you have to go here to render properties, and then press bloom. Now it's as clear as day. This is super bright. You might want to turn your computer's brightness down a bit because this is just very bright. Gonna avoid looking at it. So, if you want to make, for example, look, this is a common place where you do things and stuff like that. So, you want to organize it a bit more and create something. For example, I'm just gonna create another thing. Gonna create another monkey, okay? Don't blame me. Monkey versus monkey. Who's gonna win? 180. Oh, and if you want to know how to rotate things, just press R. And if you want to rotate things freely, you can press R and then R again, so you can move it in whatever direction you want. But if you want to move it at a specific axis, press R and whatever axis, Z or X, whatever. Okay, from here, you want to make a, this is called a collection. So you press, so you right click, press new collection, and just drag these in, and that's it. Yeah, and now you got a collection. And if you want to hide the entire, both of them, just press this, and this is just hide if you don't know. Just, yeah, simple. Okay, so from here you would also might need a little more light. Well, lighting is not too important for you beginners out there, but yeah, you might want light. And for you to see light, you have to go to the render rendered viewport, and from here you select the light, and you would see that it's not in the best conditions. For example, you want it to be brighter, so you can change the power up and down. For example, I'm gonna make it 1,000,000, or just way bigger than that, and this is what's gonna happen if it gets too big. So I'm gonna keep it down at 10. And if you want to change the color, just come to color and change it. Yeah, green light. What everyone needs. Little green light. Normally you'll want a orangish one, but yeah, whatever. Some of you guys out there might just want green light. And if you want to make a specific kind of light, you want to come here and select which one you want. So, right here you have 4 different options. Point is the default. There's also sun, which is just this. It's, as the name suggests, it's a sun. And over here, you also have spotlight, which focuses on a specific spot. You also have area, which focuses on a specific area. You can scale it up. You can scale it down with S as normal. I'm gonna leave it as sun for now, because yeah, that's the most interesting one. Oh, and if you come here into shading, and then go to materials, and then come to my shiny material, come here, put this, put roughness down to 0, you would see this, which is like disco lights. Best thing I can think of. Which is also pretty annoying sometimes. You sometimes won't want that. So that's, and this is also what it's gonna look like when it's finished rendering. I'm gonna put that back to, so if you want to know what your render will turn out as without rendering it, this is how you're gonna look at it. So yeah, so I think that should be it for today. I think that should be it. Most, oh, and if you want to change the color of the background of the world, you could come to this world tab and then change the color. You can also change the brightness, for example, change it to 50, and then this is bright purple, a bright purple world. Who will want that? Or a bright green, lime, whatever you want to call it. Just this disgusting color. And yeah, you also might, this is also another very interesting modifier, if you want to know, which is called mirror. So first you have to delete half of it. So press here and then press, don't just press delete, just, well, you could press delete, and or if you want to press X, just delete it, and then you want to press face, and you deleted half of it. Oh, and if you want to see how I selected that much of it, come over here to this, and then the shortcut for it is Alt Z. So from here, you want to go back to modifier, new modifier, and come over to mirror, and now you've mirrored it. And if you want to apply it, for example, you don't want it to mirror anymore, you want to press apply, and that's it. Now it's back to normal. And if you don't apply it, this is what's gonna happen. You can only edit half of the mesh, the other half will just come with it. Okay, so let me apply that back on. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Or maybe we can, or if you want to animate something, instead of just windows, you want to come over here. I would recommend you to just come over here, put it back to 0 because no, at default it's at 1, but 0, sometimes if you put at 1 it gets a bit glitchy. So come over here, press I, and then you'll want location, rotation, or scale, or all of it at once. I'm just going to do location for now. And you'll want to move this forward first, for example, 100 frames later. Oh, no, that's too much. 10 frames later. Move it GZ, and just Z, and then move it up. And press I again, and then location. And yes, here it is, it's moving. And then you can also use this as I demonstrated just then for scaling. And over here you can scale that down and scale. For example, yeah, goes up, becomes tiny. Press I, rotation, and then come over here, rotate, I'm going R, and then I, rotation again. So, it just does that on you when it goes up. Yay. And if you want to render an image, you you could also move the, this is the camera. If you want to move it, just press camera over here, or just press this little box here. You can press G to move it around, or you could just, if you want to go use WASD, press shift and the squiggly thing before the numbers, just press it. You can move it around with WASD now. And then if you want to exit, just press exit. And normally if you go to the WASD, Q is going down, E is going up. Yeah, and that's it. If you want to render it, just press render, render animation. But if you want an animation, come over here, select whichever one you will want. Normally if you're doing an animation, you will want these three. This is the one I use the most. And you also want to select where you want to save it. So a desktop would do, or whatever. But if you want to render an image, I recommend a JPEG or PNG. PNG is for transparent images. You can make your image transparent by coming over here, going to film, and then pressing transparent. And then now the background is transparent, and you got a transparent image. So you can press F2 or Control F2 to render it. Okay, so that is sort of it. And if you want to save the file, just press Control or Command S. So that's just it. I guess. Bye!